This month alone, we have been swimming in never-ending titles of video games. But one game that we're going to be talking about today is none other than Code Veronica Remake trailer. Yes, Code freaking Veronica. Holy hell. We've been talking about this one for quite some time. What does this trailer hide? First person? Hunk? Well, let's find out. As always, roll up your Arclay Mountain Herd, spark that bad boy up, and let's dive deep into more hordes of zombies. Of course, within the first scene, we get this beautiful backdrop of Paris with the umbrella tower glooming over the city in an ominous way, setting the mood and tone of what this remake will be. Now, in the original, we never actually got to see or explore Paris in a gameplay, but I think this time we will. Now, the guys and gals on Reddit got to work with this scene right here. On the left, it just looks like a simple cafe, but it also translates to Umbrella Cafe. Even the red and white Alwyn matches the Umbrella Corporation's iconic colors. But I think what's most interesting about it all is what's shown on Claire's license plate and what it says. 1126SP75, which is an Easter egg and number to the solution to the famous skeleton picture in the original game's military facility. Then SP standing for skeleton picture, while 75 could be the administrative department code for Paris. Pretty cool. Now, this section of the game I find interesting as we get some first person perspective from Claire outside of the hotel or motel that Chris is staying at. This part in the trailer kind of leaves a lot of fans to suspect if the game would allow you to switch from first person to third person like Requiem did, and I wouldn't be surprised if Capcom did, but in a Q&A session at Summer Game Fest, the producer of the next remake stated that this is strictly a third-person experience and this was to build mystery with the trailer, nothing more. But who knows, with Capcom, you can't be too sure. Now, moving on and skipping a bit ahead, we get our first boulder joke Easter egg in the game.
It's like a boulder rolled through here.
And hopefully it stays in it too, because who doesn't like a good boulder joke at Resident Evil Village? But here in this one image, which is Chris' hotel room, is a lot to dissect, so let's get into it. First and foremost, what I like to get out the way is what's on the table. You can see everything on the table, and what points to Chris's investigation, camera, and development gear for going undercover by investigating Umbrella's main headquarters, which is obviously in Europe. The handheld radio transceiver next to the file hints at a communication with Jill or even Barry, who are tracking Umbrella across Europe simultaneously, and the most obvious one being the paperwork, folders, and maps that are investigative document Claire uses to trace his steps in his apartment. Also, of course, the lighter, which is obviously a callback to Resident Evil 1, and as well as you can see the herb in the back. You know, Chris gotta get high too. You know, it's very stressful fighting these BOWs. You can really tell that Capcom is setting up an even greater comeback for Chris. If you remember the leaks from before, it confirms that Chris would get a bigger role. Seeing this trailer without the reveal of our boulder punching Chad just builds anticipation on what this expansion on the role may be. Even if you take a look, you can see the heavy dumbbells on the right of the floor where the coffee table is. This is a subtle sign that he's already deep in his bodybuilding journey. If you guys remember, Chris didn't look like he was jacked up on roids till Resident Evil 5. In the original Veronica game, he was still skinny, resembling his character model from Resident Evil 1 Remake. Now, I wonder if they'll go with a leaner Chris model for Veronica Remake. We'll have to wait and see. Now, if you're not having fun, I think you will now, because holy hell is this Hunk. From this short scene right here, it clearly looks like Hunk. Now, later we will get a better glimpse of him and Claire in the trailer, but from here where I'm looking, it just oozes Hunk. While there is no official confirmation on this being Hunk, this character here is clearly a USS agent like the one we saw in Requiem doing the same neck break maneuver on Leon. But here he's clearly putting Claire to sleep to bring her to Rockford Island. While Hunk wasn't physically present or playable in the main story of the original Code Veronica, he did exist through background lore files and collectibles on Rockford Island, there was a file called Hunk's Report detailing a mission where his team transported a Tyrant capsule to the island. Who's to say this is Capcom's way of expanding the lore of his story and further integrating him into the overarching trajectory of the titles, like they did in Requiem. Some fans speculate that his character is also Rodrigo, who was the head of Umbrella's Paris Tower security unit and the person who actually captured Claire in Paris. So if this is Hunk, this could be a huge overhaul on the lore's expansion, where we get sudden flashes of new and popular locations of the game. In this first glimpse, we get a beautiful scene where the moonlight reflects through the trees bouncing off the fauna, only I don't think it's the moonlight. It's most likely from Rockford facility. And what's interesting is that the original game did not have any forest sections, as in the original Rockford Island was entirely industrial, rocky as well, heavily developed with concrete complexes. And according to Dust Golem, he believes that this forest area is a reimagined of the cemetery from the original, expanding the map for further lore building and exploration, which checks out with previous sentiments I've had with the level expansions. Can you imagine the endless horrific things Capcom could do to us in this forest? God, I can't wait. Might have to double up on shorts, man. Now here in this scene, we get a quick shot of a old model computer, which could be the card reader. This will be a modernization found in the military training facility from the original Code Veronica game. Plus, if you look closely, the green text on the screen states, "Please insert card reader." This kind of further confirms the location and where the game will take place in this particular level. Fans and amongst others have pointed out how sleek and more advanced the terminal looks, suggesting it belongs to the Arctic lab rather than the early in-game prison. To me, this just hints that the remake will maintain the original's major setting shift halfway through the story. There are a few things to bite off with this scene right here as well. Fans in the community analyze the plastic sheeting is draped to evoke a dragonfly wings, which is direct lore to the Alfred family's obsession with insects. We can also speculate that this can be an entirely new area design for Rockford Island. With everything we've been seeing so far, you can really tell that Capcom is going for a darker and more grounded version of Code Veronica with all the dark spaces that we are seeing from the trailer. I'm positive we will be getting a flashlight like Resident Evil 2 and 4 remakes, because as you can see in the particular clip, that it seems like a flashlight being used. Now this scene right here is the most recognizable location shown in the trailer in the original. On the left, you can see the watchtower wrapped in barbed wires, the main prison gate in the center of the courtyard that acts as the main checkpoint leading deeper into the island military facilities. Whether if Capcom changes it further is up to debate, but this is a huge improvement from the original. Now, who could this be other than Steve? While the face is obscured, if you slow the video down just a bit, you can see red hair underneath the hoodie. Like the leak said before, they're going for a more grounded, grittier look to Steve's design, taking away his bright green vest over beige shirt in place for this. As you can see, this shot also captures the moment Claire first encounters Steve outside Rockford Island. And finally, we get a reveal of Alfred Ashford. Well, a body shot anyway. It looks graphically impressive, and I am so excited to see all this in action and come into play. Then right after, we get a shot with supposedly either Hunk or Rodrigo holding Claire, and damn, what a beautiful shot of Claire Redfield, our fucking goat. Now, a part of me want to believe this is Hunk, but it might just be Rodrigo, but we could be wrong. We'll have to see. Just from the teaser alone, there is so much to see and unwrap, but that's all we have today. If you guys like this video, then you could check out my deep dive on Code Veronica remake leaks right here, or you can watch my recent video on the right. Comment on what you're most excited to see from Veronica Remake, like, subscribe, and make sure you hit that notification bell to stay alerted for the next video. All right, my dreamers, count your sheep, catch your Z's, and go to sleep.